There is a huge worldwide myth that automatic transmissions need some kind of adaptation after you change fluid and filter in those transmissions. This myth was probably launched by some car mechanics that weren't really fair with their clients, so they sold them these adaptation services and they paid $200 for them. There is not a single modern automatic transmission that would need some kind of adaptation after fluid change. This is impossible, and this is not even common sense, because what should you adaptate the transmission for when you change the fluid? The fluid is the same, the viscosity is almost the same, the fluid is original, the OEM, and the transmission is made to work with this fluid. Yeah, maybe when you experiment and you pour something else, like not the OEM type of fluid in your transmission, maybe you will need some adaptation, but I don't recommend doing this, because in most cases this transmission will die very soon. So you will need to use something with OEM standards, and when you're using something with OEM standards, you don't need any adaptation, because this transmission is made to work with this fluid. I was talking with one mechanic, transmission mechanic, recently, and he told me you need adaptation every time you replace filter and change fluid in transmission, because the viscosity changes, because the old fluid is of higher viscosity, it's more viscose, it has a lot of like these byproducts of clutches in it, and it's more viscose, and when you use the new fluid it's not so viscose, so you need adaptation. But it's not true. Like, if it was true, you would need transmission adaptation every single winter morning, because every winter morning you have a thicker fluid in your transmission. When it's cold, all fluids in your car become thicker, and you would need a transmission adaptation every morning. Of course, it doesn't work like that, and transmission manufacturers, car manufacturers, never gave any recommendations about the adaptation services when you just replace the filter and change the fluid. Now, to make things clear, by adaptation I mean some software reset, adaptation reset, yeah, software reset in your transmission, and it costs starting with 100 euros and finishing 250 euros, in depending on what kind of repair shop or garage you go to. And this is actually the money you pay for nothing, absolutely nothing, nothing changes. And I'll give you 90% that the mechanic who will sell you the service, they will not even do any adaptation, because it's not needed. Things work like that. You just drain the old fluid as much as you can, you fill in the new fluid as much as you need, and you just go. That's all. You don't need any adaptations, software reset, whatever. The adaptation of your transmission can actually be needed only in those cases when the transmission is not working properly, when the transmission is punching, when the transmission doesn't want to shift, when there are glitches in your transmission brain. And yes, in these cases you may actually need some adaptation reset, and you will need to see if this is a software problem. You make the reset, you pay a little money for that, and you understand that, for example, the things got better and this is the software problem, and you may dig deeper into this problem using some software methods. But if nothing happened after adaptation, you understand that this is a hardware problem and you need to replace your transmission, and this will help you maybe not spend so much money at once. But when changing the fluid, it's just a myth. You shouldn't pay for any adaptation. Please don't do that. You're just wasting your money.